Welcome back, and to further discuss the shocking Australian response and the extraordinary developments over the past 24 hours, let's bring in now radio legend Ray Hadley. Ray, well, let's start with these concerning scenes that we've seen in Sydney yesterday. A pro-Palestinian crowd suddenly started supporting this radical extremist regime. There's this one photograph. I mean, never mind the fact they've been executing women for daring not to cover their hair. This photograph shows a protester holding up a picture of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. I mean, Ray, how ignorant are these people of what's actually going on in Iran?
Well, the people who gathered, it's no different to what happened October 8, 9 and 10. I mean, ill-informed oafs. And then Marine Faruqi and others there, you know, jollying them along. She should be more concerned about what's happening in Pakistan with India as opposed to what's happening in the Middle East. But look, the river to the sea chant, it's been dispelled. If you're a historian, even with a little modicum of common sense, you understand that the Jewish faith have been there a lot longer. They're not colonised in any way being a colony there. They haven't colonised that particular area.
Jews are indigenous to the land.
Yeah,
of Israel.
I mean,
it's nonsense.
It's not. But see, I saw something today that a mate sent me, and it was an American thing, and they asked a question of a woman, and she said, and she was protesting along the same lines of what we're putting up with here yesterday, and she said, "Well, they're Muslims." He said, "Who's Muslims?" He said, "Oh, the Jewish, the people in Israel, they're Muslim." He said, "No, that's the other side." You know, and most of the people protesting, not all of them, but most of them are young ones who had no idea what happened during the war, the Holocaust. They've got no idea of what was the Jewish faith was subjected to by Hitler and the Nazis. They're rewriting history, and it's so annoying. And any chance to bash up Donald Trump, the rest of the world is applauding him. And I read a thing by Joe Hildebrand today where he said we should be thanking Donald Trump.
Agreed.
And everyone should exactly take Joe's lead and thank him, because they get nuclear capabilities. We're all in strife.
Exactly.
We're all in trouble.
Absolutely, no question. And sometimes I think Albanese and Penny Wong are almost as ignorant as those protesters.
Well, you've got to forgive the Prime Minister, because deep
because he
down,
was one of those protesters.
Thank you.
Ray.
You've got me. No, I interject all the time. Don't worry about it. No, you're exactly right. You know, he was in a cafe, you know, a few decades ago, and he was protesting, you know, and so it's not in his soul. It's not in his DNA. It's certainly not in Penny Wong's DNA. And I gave them a bit of a tickle up this morning on the Telegraph and said, you've either got to do your business or get off the pot, because, and he hasn't done that yet. She was everywhere this morning saying, oh, we support Donald Trump, we can't allow this. But there was a writer, we've got to work towards peace.
Yeah.
How do you have peace with a raving lunatic who puts homosexuals to death, who won't allow women to go to school, girls to go to school? Women are not second-class citizens in Iran. They're third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh. In fact, I think some of the herded animals might come in front of them. And so how do you negotiate? How does our foreign minister say, let's negotiate with a raving lunatic? You can't.
Not to have nuclear weapons. I mean, it doesn't get more serious. She was questioned on why they took so long, 24 hours to come out.
I might have been at a tea party.
Well, probably. It would have been more priority. Here's what she said in answer to that question.
Why has it taken almost 24 hours for the government to provide support to the US?
I think if you look at our statement released by the government yesterday, we made clear what we have always said, which is the international community, including Australia, has long believed that Iran cannot obtain a nuclear weapon. I think that was very clear.
Except that it wasn't very clear,
No,
Ray.
she didn't say that.
They didn't say they supported it.
The sort of mealy-mouthed release said simply, we want peace. I mean, it didn't say we are with our allies. Look, as I've said many times, we are a large continent with a small population. The Americans saved us in World War II from what was happening up north. There's no doubt they saved us. And if we want to be saved again from some other person that may want a bit of our territory and a bit of our wealth in terms of what we have on the ground here, we're going to be calling on the Americans again. Yeah, I mean, we are not a race of people who will, you know, doff our caps to people. We're fairly, you know, proud. But at the end of the day, we're 25, 26 million people, and we need the United States of America might, if something might happen in the future. Now, Donald Trump would be fully entitled to say, well, listen, fellas, where were you when we needed you?